You're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Green Bay Packers content, created for the fans by the fans. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know whenever we go live. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Packers_access. Go Pack Go. Enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us, 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay here to talk Packers. Little Seahawks preview. We got some other great topics we're going to cover as it is this glorious Friday, December 13th. Friday the 13th, Tim. You ain't been running around the neighborhood with a hockey mask, have you, man?
No. Come on now. 13's a lucky number, man. Come on.
There you go. I thought I'd scare the hell out of neighbors and walk around with a Caleb Williams jersey on. You know what I mean? There's nothing better than that. So the way that goes. Let's do this. Let's give a quick shout out to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since '92, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source with offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Click on the link in the video description that'll send you to their website, theticketking.com. You can go over there, register as a customer, start shopping around for your Packers tickets. Make sure you check with Ticket King before getting Packers tickets anywhere else. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packers Total Access Live. All right, Tim, we got several different topics we're going to hit on, man. I'm excited. I think Emilio will join us here shortly, so we'll have him come in and wreck the whole party. That's the way that's going to roll. Before we get to it, though, man, I know you were talking a little bit offline. We got a date in history. Is that right?
Yeah, I got my my trusty Packer calendar here from the Pro Shop for my desk, and I just thought this was kind of cool. On this date in 1936, the Packers won the league title for the fourth time in 8 seasons. They defeated the Boston Redskins 21-6 in the NFL championship game on this date in 1936 at the Polo Grounds in New York. Fun side note, it was also the third time they beat Boston that season, I believe. If I'm correct, I think they beat them twice during the season, and then they beat them for the title.
That's what it looks like here. I actually just pulled up the Pro Football Reference page for the 1936 team, and you're right, man. It looked like it was they played Boston in Week 5, October the 11th. Got a dub there, right? What they win that one? 30. It's kind of weird how they scored.
31-2.
Heck yeah, man!
Yikes!
31-2. Then they played them again in Week 9, where they beat them 7-3, right? And then, of course, in the championship game, they beat them 21-6. So pretty darn cool there. Let's see if we got some stats here. Passing, it was Arnie Herbert. You guys know Arnie Herbert.
Here's a guy.
A dude that, from what I understood, worked in the field house, and Curly gave him a tryout, and he ended up going on to I think he's a Hall of Famer. Am I right, Tim? I think Arnie Herbert,
yeah, for sure.
Football Hall of Famer. So threw for 1,239 yards that year, 11 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. He's in the Hall of Fame. Isn't that wild?
I love it.
Different time, man.
Look at the names up there, though, man. Johnny Blood, you got Clark Hinkle. Just royalty right there.
That's what's awesome, too, is back then you had multiple guys throw the football. You know, you had quarterback, halfback, fullback, split back. There was all kinds of different names for the backs, and all of them would throw the ball from time to time for sure. As far as running the ball and receiving, let's see, rushing yards, kind of hard to differentiate. Clark Hinkle rushed for 476 yards on 100 attempts, so he averaged 4.8 yards a pop there. Johnny Blood only had 65 yards rushing that year. When we go to receiving, though, Don Hudson, 536 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. Absolutely dominating there. Johnny Blood was more of a receiving back that year, it looks like, with 147 yards receiving. So just cool stuff, man. Really, really cool stuff for sure. I was trying to see, obviously they didn't keep up with sacks that year. This thing gets a little wonky. Actually, they did. It looks like they were at least able to account for 2 sacks in Lou Gordon with 1 and Walt Kostlin.
Yeah, they must have went back and just kind of looked at some stuff, because
when 3 trips they had, right?
Wasn't it like until like the late 80s they started registering sacks?
It was
like 70s or 80s they started registering sacks as an official statistic.
Yeah, because they went back and tried to pull the old tape and try to tally it up, because there's many people that believe that Willie Davis is actually the sack leader, right, that played for the Packers. But of course, they didn't start charting the sack until well after he had retired, if I understood correctly.
Right.
So, nonetheless, it's cool to go back in time and kind of take a look around. So there's your 1936 Green Bay Packers, obviously led by Curly Lambeau. Pretty cool that was the date today on the calendar that you had on your Packers calendar, man. That's always good stuff. So
yeah, love to share it, man. It's awesome. We don't do it all the time, but when we see a cool stat like that, right, you gotta remember your championships for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Also want to say this, guys, everybody follows in, hit that like button for us. We appreciate it. Go and make sure you vote here on YouTube. We got a YouTube poll question up. Last night we had a really good conversation around Rich Bisaccia, and I was surprised, Tim, that so many people in the chat were anti-Rich Bisaccia. Like, hey, he's just, we could do better at special teams is the vibe I got. And I didn't want to put words in anybody's mouth. So what we did was put up a poll question. I said, do you think Rich Bisaccia should be replaced at the end of the season? So the question is, yes or no, should they replace Rich Bisaccia? Right now, 79% says no and 21% says yes. I was just telling Tim offline, guys, I was expecting that to be flipped based off the conversation we had in the chat last night, but it sounds like the majority of the people are in agreement with me that, I mean, again, I don't think we have the best special teams in the league by no stretch of the imagination, but the big holes that we seen 2-3 years ago, I feel like they've buttoned those up and buttoned them up significantly. But what do you think about that question there, Tim? And I know it can get to be a spirited debate and this and that. I know, like you said offline, man, you kind of like to wait till the end of the season. I almost put that in there as the third option. Wait till the end of the season. But I was like, that's an easy cop out. We ain't doing it. So
yeah, I'm gonna take the easy cop out though. I'm definitely that guy. We're not a poverty franchise. We don't need to have these conversations with a month left of football plus to go. But I mean, ask me after this year. You never know. I may have an answer for you. But right now, Rich is our guy, and I'm in agreement with you. I feel like we never expected a top 5, top 10 special teams unit. We just didn't want them to be a complete dumpster fire. This is also the special teams unit that's got us a few game-winning field goals, blocking a potential game-winning field goal. So there have been some bright spots as well. So I'm not ready to let old Rich go just yet.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
Thanks, Rich. I know. Thank you.
All right. I Rock in the chat says, is that poll serious? LOL. Obviously keep Big Rich. So there you go with that. Donovan Schilling, however, said, I read it wrong and voted yes. I don't think we should. So I think he's saying they should let him go. Wait a minute. No, I don't think we should. See, this is way too confusing, guys. He says, I don't
know. I'm not a doctor.
Do you think Rich Bisaccia should be replaced at the end of the season? He said he messed up and voted yes, so he's actually on the no side, right? Am I thinking that correctly?
I believe so, yeah.
You believe so. All right, we're just going to move on. We've screwed this up completely. That's what we do on the show. It sucks, right? So, no, I was really surprised, though, that so many people – because last night, man, it was like the pitchforks were out. And like I told Emilio live on the air, like I had to take a step back. Hey, man, listen, if there's that many people that disagree with me, like on this topic, I've got to be the one that's wrong here. You got to be willing to lower that ego and go, okay, something I'm missing here. But obviously the chat here is, or the poll question is obviously saying you want to keep him. Let's see here. Drew D in the chat said, I've seen Bisaccia coach up positional players on the sideline. He has a history of being interim head coach, so he can help with more than just special teams. And obviously, Drew, that's why he's the assistant coach, right? I think there's some value in that as well, for sure. Yep. Donovan Schilling did confirm, don't fire, LOL. So he does not want him fired. There you go. Jeremy Hatter says, remember, guys, Rich is also the assistant coach. Yes, sir. Kenneth Hammond says, Tupac LaFleur was really flipping ash at the reporters today. I didn't know. Kenneth, can you give us an idea of what you're talking about there? Because I didn't listen to the presser earlier. Was it any specific topic that maybe Tupac LaFleur went a little gangster?
Maybe it's that extra lung dart that he had there. He's got one in his hand. He's got, one behind the ear. Maybe he just had too many lung darts, and that's what he meant.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on the chat for that for me, Tim. I want to see what he maybe he had to say there. DJ Colvin in the chat said, what's this talk? I say we keep him. From before he got here till now, Plus, he brought us Nixon and Jacobs. He definitely had a big role in recruiting both of those players. There's no two ways about that. Mr. Larry, good to see you, buddy. Says special teams isn't great, but has improved marginally. Don't want to start over where we're getting close to contending. That's a great point, too, because sometimes people think change means better, and that's not necessarily the case, right?
That's true. That's kind of like, Larry's basically backing up what I was telling you offline, right? Like it's an uncomfortable conversation to have when you're, contending right now. And, you have seen some improvements. We're just not there yet. Let's give it time. This is year 3 of the Rich Bisaccia experience, So I don't think it's time to panic yet.
Definitely. Kenneth in the chat said, having fun with injury questions is what
that's what he said. Yeah.
There you go.
So we might have to look at the pressers.
Yeah. Definitely. Let's see. We already hit Donovan Schilling. Ron Sample said roster stability and health can greatly affect special teams each year. So true. So true. And then Jeremy came in with the hot take here and says, and this is all over Twitter too, man. There's Packer fans getting loud around Jaire. There's no two ways about it. Jeremy Hatter says they need to replace Jaire. He's a game changer when he plays, but he's not been worth the contract so far. And best ability is availability. I cannot argue with that. And matter of fact, we got a tweet. Let me just go ahead and get my Twitter handle pulled up here because there was a tweet. We'll skip ahead to it and then bounce back. That someone had actually tweeted out the latest number there. If I can find it. And obviously, guys, we're talking about Jaire. It was announced he will not play tomorrow. Sunday. So that is pretty much a done deal there. There it was, a tough look. All right, here was the tweet I wanted to highlight for you guys and gals. So Rob Reischel tweeted out on Sunday, Packers cornerback Jaire Alexander will miss his 31st game in Green Bay's last 65. I get emotional over it, man. The Packers can save nearly $7 million in cap room by dumping Alexander in 25, which is exactly what they should do. My story at Forbes. So if you guys want to go check out the story there with Rob, make sure you just click on that link there that I have tweeted out and kind of get his take on it. So, it's probably a little deeper than just $7 million. Obviously you can go post June 1 and probably get a little bit more. There's multiple ways you can handle this, right? You actually go ahead and wipe some of it clean this year and absorb it. Do you want to trade him as opposed to cut him? Do you want him back? I don't think there's anybody that's a Packer fan that doesn't want Jaire back if he's going to be on the field, right? So I think we can kind of put that to bed. No one's sitting here going, Jaire's a bum, Jaire's trash. I think we all agree, man, when he's on the field, he's one of the best corners in the league. The problem is, man, Tim, this was kind of the turning point for me today. And I'm not saying I'm bored with cut him in the offseason. I'm just simply saying I really had to self-evaluate. I had to reflect a little bit today. When this came out that he wasn't playing after being full participant for 2 days in a row, and there's some people that believe that Matt made the decision because he didn't like the way Jaire was practicing, like it was almost like he wasn't going full steam ahead. And I heard other rumors that there was a mile per hour check and he couldn't meet some kind of requirement. I'd never heard that before. Maybe that was just Twitter fodder. But the fact that Jaire is going to miss tomorrow again, man, it is wild. It's just really wild, man, to think about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and we can speculate on what we think the reason is. It doesn't change the fact that Ja's not playing football on Sunday night. And like you said, when he's available, we love him. When he's not, it sucks. And you're talking basically half the time there, little less than 50% of the games he's not available. So, I don't know. Again, talk to me after this year, but you're right. Is there a cut coming? Trading seems difficult given that contract. So I don't know. And plus he's not doing himself any favors, not being available. I don't know how much trade value, Ja even has at this point. I'm not saying that teams wouldn't trade for him, but man, it would have to be a sweetheart deal for them to try and get, a trade done. So I would think maybe that's where they're looking at. However, I will say this, if you cut him, then now, we're suddenly the cornerback room is looking a little different, right? We're talking about, everyone wants Eric Stokes Jr. on the first thing smoking out of Green Bay, and, we've got some question marks with, Corey Ballantyne is older. He's getting older. We don't know how long he's going to be playing in that secondary. Carrington Valentine, I think, has proven that he's worth sticking around and continuing to put some development in We know Keyshawn can play on the boundary. But I mean, we have issues to to address even with Jaire on this team. So I don't know if just dumping him is the right thing to do. But then again, you're right. If you're paying for someone to be around and they're basically available half of the season, it's tough to defend that. But I will say this: if it's injury related, it is what it is, and I don't want to hear people, talking trash about a dude who's physically unable to go. And if it's not, if we're teetering into DeAndre Campbell territory here, and it's it's a heart and an attitude kind of thing, then that's a whole different conversation. Right. And I don't think that's the case with Jaire. I think it's got to be physical setback. Maybe there is truth to that mile per hour test. Maybe that's how they evaluate, leg injuries. They do the old Michael Scott, have you run, see how fast you can run, right?
With the cars going by,
you got to hit a certain mile per hour there. They probably just don't want you on the field because it points to the fact that your injury is keeping you slow and ineffective and increasing the chance for, re-aggravating or making things worse and having a setback. So I get it, but I'm not going to personally be mad at Jaire and act like, what the hell are you doing? Why aren't you playing? It may not entirely be up to him. This is a collective between the staff and the player, and the doctors. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I want to say I read somewhere too, Matt said they didn't want it to turn into the same thing that happened last time where he goes out there, plays 10 plays, and now he's set back again, right? So I can understand that. Donovan Schilling in the chat did say Matt said the mile per hour thing. So that was true, according to Donovan Schilling here. So appreciate that, Donovan. Thank you, buddy. Chris N says, Jaire said it himself. He won't play unless he's 100%. No player is 100% after week 1 in the NFL. That's what all the former players say. I know Mark Tauscher's been vocal about that. Mark Chmura has been vocal about that. Like these guys,
those dudes played in a different era, man.
This pisses them off because they're like, man, you guys would have never lasted when we played.
That's right.
Everybody was banged up.
That's a great point by Chris, though. It's so true. I won't play unless I'm 100%. So you're saying you're not going to play then? That's what you're saying, because nobody in this locker room feels great right now. They're all going through the same grueling 17-game season. So it's a good point.
Kenneth Hammond said, "How did Favre do it, man? I'll tell you,
Miller Lite,
Miller Lights. What do you say? Ed Too Far and Barley. What was the other thing he said? Trying to think, there was something else when they got him from Atlanta. Man, they said that he was really overweight. He said, "Man, I was eating way too much beans and rice and drinking cheap beer, type of thing." So what Favre did is really remarkable in terms of always being available, no matter what. It's wild. That's what's so fun to go back and watch those old games on YouTube as well from the 90s, because at least 70% of those games he was hurt.
Oh yeah,
playing, right. So
I'll tell you, that's what's fun to watch about Josh Allen right now. You watch the way he's playing. I believe he's on 105 starts or something in a row. He's coming up into the modern day Iron Man status. That's a guy that plays banged up, and it's true. It's a different era now. So it's always fun to see the guys that are kind of a throwback to that old hard-nosed era.
Right.
Drew D in the chat says a PCL injury for a cornerback is absolutely devastating, though. It takes away their ability to change directions. I don't want Jaire to go out there just to get cooked because of a bad PCL. It's so true, man. Nobody wants him to go out there and be a liability, right? That's a fact. But I know we got Emilio joining us now. Emilio,
the float builder. How did it go?
You'll see. I mean, no, the had to watch the trailers. I think it's the first time I've done it all year, and then shine it up and stuff. And I got to get the tire wax on it tomorrow. But it's coming together. Got some candy canes on it. It's for the kids. We're just there chucking candy.
Nice.
And I had to ask him last night, Tim. And I'm telling you, man, it's like, hey, you throw candy at kids, don't you? Like you try to hit them. Oh yeah, dude.
The best ones. I've probably those square Skittles or like the M&Ms. You grab them, kind of frisbee them out the window.
Yeah.
I'll have
just trying to earhole people.
Yeah, I'll have the missus and the German Shepherd in the bed of the truck, and then we'll be just kind of checking it around. It'll be a good time.
Nice.
Right. All right, man. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to mention this, Emilio. Last night, you remember the conversation about Rich Bisaccia, right?
Yeah.
So I put a poll question up because I'm expecting it's going to run away. People want him gone, right? Check this out. Do you think Rich Bisaccia should be replaced at the end of the season? 83% said no. 17% yes. So the 83% think that they should keep him. Am I taking crazy pills? It felt like the opposite last night, did it not?
Last night was on the hot seat, definitely. Rich, the Packers didn't know about it, but man was in the hot seat in the chat, and I think they had some really valid points, right? It's not like, but the problem was we just needed more info. Like, where are we getting the numbers? I completely understand having that take. When I dug into it a little bit more, I think the PFF grade being so low had to do a lot with Narv pulling down with the missed field goals and things like that. That's not something that we can just wash from our special teams grade. That's there the whole season. We're committed to that. So I do think that's kind of what knocked it down. So I'm eager to see how whoever grades him, the special teams with all his categories. I'm excited to kind of see what he has at the end of the year. Yeah,
for sure, man. Because that's kind of the true test in the public eye. Because I know that his grading system gets mentioned every year. It's like it seems to be the authority in how good or bad a special team is, for sure.
Right.
All right, let's go back to Twitter real quick. I listened to DeAndre Campbell chatter continue today. I tweeted this out. This was a story that was screenshotted when the 49ers signed DeAndre Campbell. And this guy, Adam Springstro, says it's most certainly someone else's fault. So that story that he screenshotted there was someone is about to get a great football player that has been badly misused. Well, let's get it, though. Let's get it, though. So that was from DeAndre Campbell when he signed with the 49ers way back in the day. So he really doubled and tripled down on that on his way out. I forgot how adamant he was about, hey, you guys misused me again, right?
Right. Brought the captain's chain. Yeah, he showed Debo that's his captain's chain. He's going to be wearing it, so we'll see.
And I also tweeted this out, said window closed. ML Football had put a tweet out. There was a fight between 49ers fans at the game last night. So the window is closed, my friends. It's time to back up and punt, try to rebuild a little bit. You got to decide, all right, we're going to pay Brock Purdy or not.
He's saying, take that DeAndre Campbell jersey off. You crazy?
I love how one guy is upside down in the bleachers and everyone else is just hovering over him, right?
Yep.
Like, come on, help a brother out here, man. What are we doing? So I don't know, man. Maybe I'm lucky, but every time I've been to Lambeau, I've been there probably 10 or 12 times now. Never see it.
Ever. The most you might get is one too many daddy sodas, and you might need to be assisted out of the seating area. But
I mean,
I've never experienced that in all my years of going to games. I've never seen that in the stands. Yeah,
a little assistance, Tim. You'll have that. I mean, the concrete can be slippery. It can be cold. The poles, sometimes they move the poles in the center of the aisle. It really just depends on how you're feeling getting out of there.
And I'm speaking for myself here, but I think a lot of other fans might agree is that. A lot of us, when we go to games at Lambeau, you feel like an ambassador to that stadium and to our team. And you're not just a fan taking up space. You're there to help your fellow fans. You're there to, make sure everyone else has a good time too and cheer on your team. So, yeah, you're not going to see this type of behavior at Lambeau Field. Right. It's not going to happen.
The closest I ever seen, Monday Night Football, Packers-Vikings, Aaron Rodgers' first start as the starting quarterback. All right. And we're 13 rows from the field, right next to the players' tunnel. And this huge Minnesota Vikings fan walks into our section, right? He's got his ticket, looking at the seat numbers, right? He was at least 6'5", and he looked like he was 7 foot tall with the big horn helmet, big old boy. He was every bit of 300 pounds, just a hoss cat. He walks into that section with that ticket, and he looks at this guy and says, I think you're in my seat. And this dude stands up, and I'm not kidding you. He was at least 55 years old. He was probably 5'7", no hair, completely bald, right? And he looked at his ticket. He said, "Excuse my language, kids in the room, ear muffet, okay? Here's your warning, ear muffet." He goes, there you go, Amelia. That guy looks at the ticket and goes, "It's on the other side, dipshit." And that fan went, "Well, no, it says this ticket right." He took it well. I went, "Oh, this is going to get bad. He's going to squash this little guy, right?" And he said, "No, it's on the other side, dipshit." And he asked somebody else, and he said it one more time. And finally, that big Viking dude turned around and looked down at that little guy, and he went, "Why are you calling me a dipshit?" That little dude went, "I'm calling you a dipshit because you're a dipshit." Unbelievable, man. And sure enough, that guy, Marsh, I kind of felt bad for the Viking fan because he was being somewhat civil. And then that old man turned around, looked at everybody, and just smiled and sat back. He'd probably been sitting there for 40 years. You know what I mean?
He's been calling Viking fans dipshits for 50 years at least.
And they probably the same people have been selling those tickets that he keeps bumping into, right? Everybody keeps coming down there and buying those tickets. He's probably done that 100 times.
Right.
God, it was hilarious.
I love it.
Hilarious. All right, moving along here. This was a funny sequence in tweets here. I put out earlier. Rob Domowski said no sign of Jaire Alexander out there earlier today. I put no Jaire part of today part of the plan ? And the very next tweet, no Jaire Alexander this week either. So he's out.
And cool. And Seattle's now down another running back, so they're going to want to throw the ball even more. Yay!
Very true. And that's what you're seeing right here. Adam Schefter tweeted out, Seahawks are listing running back Kenneth Walker III as doubtful for Sunday night's game versus the Packers due to this calf injury. So doubtful, as you guys know, 75% chance that he will not play. Okay. And again, they can still play him and they could be playing some games here. Typically, though, from what I've understood, the league really cracked down on teams trying to manipulate this injury report. So if a team lists someone as doubtful and they end up playing, the league is pretty hard on them about it. It's not they'll get fined or anything, but they'll go to them like, hey, listen.
Right. That's what the questionable status is for. Just list them questionable then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
don't everybody laugh me off the podcast, but I will say this, given the injuries and the matchup, if there was a game for Eric Stokes to step up and ball the hell out, it's this Sunday night in Seattle. And I want to stay positive and hope that maybe there's one great game left in that battered, torn up body of his, and he's able to play well because we're going to need him. We're going to need all hands on deck in that secondary on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm. Drew D says in the chat, doubtful these days is like 99% out. I can't think of the last time that someone listed as doubtful and they played for sure. Right, so I'm with you there, Drew. Greg Rice says pick 6 for Stokes, Tim.
There we go, Greg.
Tim trying to channel this positive energy around Stokes. I'm all about it. Need it.
Speak it into existence. Hey, nobody's worked harder to get back than Eric Stokes, man. That guy was barely walking a year ago. So all that's left for him to do is play well. That's the one thing we're waiting on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 2-0 for this says, as Journey says, don't stop believing. Sing it for me, Emilio.
Right.
Don't
that's actually a jam. And I would.
Emilio needs 2 or 3 more daddy sodas.
I would, though. I 100% would, dude. If I was in the truck right now, you probably could get me to do it. But 2 or 3 more daddy sodas would do it, too.
We need the quarter Mexican, quarter Italian version of that song.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, just fill in some words and stuff. It'll happen.
Let's see. Holmes in the chat says, I agree, Tim. Stokes needs to man up. There you go. Daryl in the chat, good to see you, buddy. Says McKinney has to get a couple more INTs this Sunday.
Gonna have the chance.
Yeah, the ball's gonna be in the air. There's no doubt about it, right? And this is a Jeff Hafley game too, boys. You know what I mean? Like, hey, let's see. This is playoff football, is what we're talking about here. Like these teams are both competing for seeding. Obviously, they're competing. Seattle's competing to hold on to that NFC West. The Packers are looking to hold on to that 6 seed, possibly move up to the 5 seed. You're going to get the best version of both these teams. They're not holding anything back now. We're going to see what Jeff Hafley's got in his bag, man, against a team like Tim said that likes to throw it all over the yard. So,
I mean, we can talk about the secondary all day and what they need to do, but really, that front four is going to determine this game and how Hafley uses them. We got to get creative with our D line for sure.
Yeah. And Prince in the chat said, is Cooper questionable or doubtful? Let's go to the tape here. It sounds like he's going to play from what I heard, but here is the actual report. Okay. Edgerrin Cooper, limited. Today he was full.
He has no status.
Good to go.
He's going to play. Let's go.
So
can he play slot corner?
Yeah, exactly. Jaire Alexander's out. Javon Bullard's out. Corey Ballantyne is questionable, so 50-50 shot there. Luke Musgrave was limited all week, but he's out. No surprise there. So other than that, everyone else is good to go. That means Romeo Dobbs cleared concussion protocol. Evan Williams cleared concussion protocol. Like we said, Edgerrin Cooper and that hamstring, he's good to go. Isaiah McDuffie with that ankle, it's been ailing him for the last few weeks, although he's played every week. He's good to go. Sounds like everybody is good to go. So what do you guys think about the injury report outside of Javon Bullard and Jaire Alexander? Pretty darn good news, really.
Yep.
Yeah, especially Rome, right? Good to see him back. Look to see them try and get him going early. We talked about that this morning, right? You don't normally try to focus on one guy and force feed him the ball, but Rome's missed a couple of weeks here. I would like to see them target him early and often and get his game legs under him again.
Yeah, I'm happy he came back, like you said, Tim. That was a little scary, him being out for a couple of weeks. You don't want to see a concussion get extended past, a week, maybe 2, but it felt like he was pushing 3. So I'm happy he's all right. And yeah, just having Evan Williams come back too is going to be big. But how much are we going to push him? Is he going to go out there and start? Is it going to be Zane out there to start? I'm wondering how they're going to kind of dial that up. And Ja, it's tough on Ja, man. It really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there is your information on that, Prince. Appreciate you asking that question, buddy. Again, we're just kind of walking through the injury report. Let's go to the Seattle Seahawks side. Trey Brown, cornerback, is out. Artie Burns, cornerback, doubtful. All right. Tackle Stone Forsyth is out. And then you've got Jarek Reed, safety with the quadricep. He's out. Brady Russell, tight end with the foot, is out. Kenneth Walker III, like we said, is doubtful, 75% chance that he will not play. And then Kayvon Wallace, safety, is out. So, guys, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're talking about what? Most likely 1, 2, 3, 4 defensive backs that are going to miss this game for the Seahawks. So they're banged up too. There's no two ways about it. And, really what comes to mind here when you're talking about Jaire missing the game, Javon Bullard missing the game, against a pass-heavy team and a quarterback that's playing pretty darn well. PFF has him as a top 10 quarterback this year in Geno Smith. They come out winging it around. You may get into a shootout here, right? That's very possible. So,
yeah, I think that could be an issue, definitely not having that. And then, even looking at it, it seemed like a lot of their line, a lot of the interior is banged up. So it's not like they're at 100%. I know they had some rest and stuff, but, they got their linebackers in there, didn't rest, didn't participate, full participation, and then didn't do anything. You know what I mean? So it's not like they're putting in a full week there. They're not, game ready. Practice how you play, all that kind of stuff. And I think that Matt preaches that with this team. I think it also helps our age for sure.
Yeah, I hope Matt doesn't get too shot play heavy, seeing that they're banged up too in that secondary. It's like, hey, don't forget, let's keep pounding the run. Let's stick with what's been working lately. But I think there is a strong possibility that we could just see you could see J Love out there and our boy Geno Smith just launching bombs all day long.
I'll tell you what I wouldn't be surprised to see too is us really keying on the pass and give them the run, and they may come away with gaudy run numbers, right? I could see that happening. But us
bend but don't break. No big plays, no explosives.
Bingo.
Yep.
But I like that idea because how is it 66% of their offense is based on the pass? If you really try to clamp that down, keep 7, 8 in coverage, we're going to be rushing 3 or 4 kind of thing. I think that wouldn't be opposed to it at all. I'd rather them have to run it down our throat all game long if that's the case.
Now, if we start seeing 20 and 30 yard chunk runs left and right, we may have to rethink that approach.
Right. We'll have a convo. We'll call a timeout and talk about it on the sideline. Dan Lee in the chat became a YouTube member. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks and welcome to the PTA Posse. So we'll make sure that you're entered into the contest to get the autographed LVN jersey, Lucas Van Ness autographed jersey, just like this one right here. We're going to be giving away on the post-game show. We're going to put your name along with every other YouTube member's name on the Larry McCarron pinky wheel. We're going to spin that sucker, and whoever it lands on is going to win that autographed jersey. We're also going to be adding everyone in the Patreon group that's a member of one of our 3 tiers, just a way for us to give back to you. That's given to us. So if you want to join the Patreon group, scan the QR code in the upper right, or just go to patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. Or if you're not familiar with Patreon and just want to get yourself entered into the contest, just make sure you're a YouTube member here on YouTube, part of the PTA Posse. Appreciate you, Dan. Welcome to the Posse, bud. DJ Colvin said,
That's from Rumble. I just wanted to say, appreciate you.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, there you go. Hey, listen, Rumble is blowing up.
It is.
I was looking on there. I have to get this adjusted. I have to adjust it every time somebody jumps on the show. Look at him. Love it. So yeah, Rumble is going crazy. I looked at the other day and didn't realize just how many people we had on there. If you search Green Bay Packers on Rumble, we are running away with the total in subs. Like Packers are second, and we're beating them by like, I don't know what, 20% or something, which is crazy. So
absolutely. I'm just happy they're in here. I know they listen every show. I know we got a handful that are always on there, but you can always comment. It'll still pop up in our system. We can always put it on.
Yeah, do me a favor. Let me close this door because the dogs are barking. Read that comment. I think it's about Ja.
DJ from Rumble said they could have been trying him out, and he still fell off. They probably decided together that he needed a little bit more time playing DB. It's a lot of quick movement changes, and it's a knee. So, I mean, that's how I tore my ACL. I was planting, pivoting to open my hip, and the foot just stayed in the ground, and my knee kept turning. So it's like there's not, it can happen so frequently. And if he's not going to be wearing a brace, if he's going all natural, and you really have to have confidence in that. I think it's a big mental hurdle. But again, dude, if you feel anything, it pops a little bit. It feels awkward when you finish your plant. If you can't run on your toes, I think all that stuff's really going to affect him. And you have to make quick breaks and decisions playing corner. I would rather him not get shook out of his shoes and, take it off. We got still a couple, a little bit longer, it being a Monday game. And like we said, I'd be fine if he struggles to get back and he can come back 100% in the playoffs, makes a couple plays. I don't think we're going to be worrying about him missing games, even though, half those misses is tough in his career.
My knee.
Hey, can I rant?
I agree real quick. I just got to say I agree 100% with Emilio's logic because Ja's my dude. You guys know that. I'm a huge Jaire fan, always have been. Probably the most excited the day we drafted him. And think he's played some really quality ball for us down the stretch. But I would hate to see him go out there to get, 7 snaps in and just completely gut that knee. And it's a wrap. And then we're having a whole different conversation because now we're looking at, do we even have a Jaire available to play next year? We're talking about freeing up cap room and all these things. I'd rather make those decisions in the offseason with a guy that is fully healthy or is as close to it as he can be.
Right.
Definitely. So I need to rant here a second. Are you guys keeping up with this Mark Gastineau story with Brett Favre?
Didn't I send y'all the clip of that when were you talking the one where he walked up to him in like
the most awkward, uncomfortable Michael Scott type of conversation you've ever seen in your life?
That's the one. So the reason it got filmed too, it was all staged, right, to catch Brett off guard because it was for a 30 for 30 documentary on the sack exchange, the pass rush for the Jets that year. And Mark Gastineau walking around, bitching and moaning and crying about he didn't get his sack. I want my sack, Brett. I want my sack. Hey, Mark, how about can we ask you a question, Bub, real quick, since you're so concerned with that one sack?
Oh, we're gonna give him some.
Were you on steroids when you got that sack? Ooh, boy, nobody allowed to talk about that. Roided it out of his mind. Allegedly. Let's say allegedly to protect our arses here. All right, but come on, you really going to complain about one sack that Brett Favre laid down on for Michael Strahan? Oh, by the way,
first of all, I remember that play vividly. Like the game just happened yesterday, and Brett had nowhere to go and nothing to do but go to the ground on that play. I'd love to run back the tape on that one just to show everybody.
The fact that it's become this popular thing to try to pile on Brett, right? And we know 99% of it was politics. We know how that went, right? Yep. But it's amazing. These people coming out of the woodwork. And I know there's talk, let me put it up here. I don't know if Holmes was being serious or not. He may or may not be. He says, Mark has CTE, guys, give him a break. If that's the case, then why the hell is no one else jumping on ESPN for taking advantage of that and trying to make this big issue and try to, sell copies or sell views to this documentary, right? It's just like, oh, Brett's a bad guy. Brett's a bad guy. Brett's a bad guy. And if he does indeed have CTE and he's out of pocket complaining about this in the documentary, I've got it on the TV here. It looked like he's been bitching and moaning the entire show, right? Yep. And then for them to set it up with a camera and try to make Brett look bad at that autograph session, then why is no one speaking out on ESPN for basically exploiting the fact that he's got CTE?
Taping it from your hip, probably like with your hand around the corner, just to make sure no camera on the shoulder. We can't be too noticeable here.
Yeah, exactly. I Rock in the chat says, I thought it was a sketch comedy skit, to be honest. It was strange. And I thought Brett handled it perfect. Brett tried to humble himself. Hey, man, you probably hurt me if you sack me. Just like, and you're looking at Brett, and he's got these pythons. I'm like, Brett would knock his teeth down his throat right now. We know this. Yep. It just drives me. It's insane, man. It's insane.
You think God never farted?
Yeah, and Jay said Jason Wilde saying Brett changed the play call was supposed to be a run play. He decided to pull it on a naked boot. That's a common thing. Listen, you could watch.
So he could have just called the run play, and then there would have been no sack, and then everyone could shut the hell up then, right?
I think Brett did it on purpose. That's my opinion. Okay.
Yep.
Is that right or wrong? I don't know. And I really don't care. The fact that there's a grown man and now this entire 4-letter network that's following him around trying to get a story out of it is just, it's strange. It's really strange. Yep. Because again, TJ Watt, didn't he tie the record too? It's like not even a record now. And his whole thing, Gastineau's whole thing was, man, I lost a lot of money because I wasn't the sack king for us. So shut the hell up. Go get a job. Like, all those years you missed out on money with autographs. Why don't you join the rest of the working class, you moron? Why don't you get out there and
get another
break
sack?
Your back and try to support your family instead of, I want to go sign a card and make extra money? Shut the hell up. I can't stand grown men acting like that. It drives me insane, man.
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
Tim, you're not helping with all these. So, anyway, let's move on. I'm just saying, I looked at about everywhere I've turned on social media, I turned to the TV, it's Mark Gastineau complaining. It's like, can we shut up about this already? How many championships did y'all win? Okay, nobody cares. Go on. Go back to
and individual stats and stuff like that, those type of records, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're meant to be broken. You know? I mean, Michael Jordan is, no longer the all-time scoring leader in the NBA, right? We've had that change hands a few times. Baseball has new home run kings now. Things, records, especially individual ones, man. Everyone's records are going to be broken.
Yeah. And like Drew says here, given Brett's health, I think it's time for him to be off limits. Like he's dealing with Parkinson's. Like, for God's sakes, the election's over. The grandstanding can stop now. Let's all go back to talking football. And we got to hear this knucklehead run, this meathead run.
And dudes over there, I mean, if you had all this time to think about something to say to Brett Favre about him stealing the sack, lead from you or whatever, you couldn't have come up with something other than, you hurt me, Brett. Brett.
I think he was expecting Brett to buck, and Brett handled it with class. And Mark Gastineau was like, this didn't go as planned. You hurt me, Brett. You hurt me. Shut up.
All right, bro.
And Brett's like,
sit your butt outside.
Just give me one more word other than you hurt me, please.
Yeah, it's just it's hard to stomach, man. Again, and I guess the reason that it bothers me so much is like these are grown men acting like this. I grew up in a house where her mom passed away when she was like 16, right? She had her first kid when she was 17. Her dad was an alcoholic, and she had to take care of him. Like she raised 2 brothers and took care of an alcoholic father. And they lived in the housing projects. Like she had every bad card dealt against her from day one, and she never complained one time. And you got grown men who, you hurt me, Brett. Shut up, dude. God,
tell me how you really feel about it, Clayton.
Yeah, well, that's it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side. Maybe you probably won't come back, and I don't blame you. Right. We'll see y'all over there for hour 2. Appreciate you. All right.
Welcome to hour 2. We have Milwaukee Tool session. Starting off, DJ Colvin hopped in and said, "Hey, Emilio, bought myself some more Milwaukee tools not too long ago. M18 Brad Naylor coming soon." Let me tell you right now, I don't have me one of those. I need to get one. They're on sale, $50 off right now, about $249. But dude, you know what's helping me get the lights on the tree or on the parade float? We had the M18 Rover light. Okay, Milwaukee.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
Sponsor the show, Milwaukee.
This is hilarious. DJ Colvin, I don't know who you are, and obviously you're on Rumble, right?
Yeah.
And you're bringing this up. Well, I got a message from Andy Monday earlier. Pull that comment
Let's
down.
go.
Check this out. Pull that comment down. Read what it says here. Andy Monday just randomly texted me and said, pick this up from Home Depot, 50% off. Let's finish that bathroom remodel.
Woo! You find the yellow
something?
sticker. If you see a yellow sticker in Home Depot, you take that thing and you run it to the register, okay? That's it. Bottom line. It's red. It's not Milwaukee branded, but it is red. Yes.
You got a Milwaukee sticker on the headboard. He's got some fake headlights on the front of it, the whole 9 yards. So.
Well, I appreciate you showing up for hour 2 Milwaukee Talk. Now we can get back to the Packers.
There you go. Sponsor the show, Milwaukee. All right.
Ooh, sorry, put that one. Put Prince's up there.
I seen Oprah, and I'm like, that's probably a good thing.
It's Clayton. He says it's Dave Colvin from Patreon.
Got
That's
it.
DJ. That's DJ.
Appreciate it, DJ. You're the man. Yeah. So, pull that back up there, Tim. Let's hit it anyway, man. I think it's worth mentioning here. Why not? We're already off the rails. Prince in the chat says, hour 2, ESPN is the Oprah of sports television.
Where's she at, by the way?
Have anybody seen her lately? I don't know, man.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. We'll keep an eye out. Anyway, let's move on to some Jordan Love talk, shall we?
Yeah, one of her mansions. She'll be okay.
She'll be okay. All right. Pac Daddy tweeted this out because Dove, whatever the hell his name is, Kleiman, said, yikes, Packers quarterback Jordan Love has been one of the worst quarterbacks against the blitz this season. He ranks 30th when blitzed with a grade of 63. And as Pac Daddy pointed out, quote tweet says, as mentioned on the show, this seems to have been cleaned up since the bye. He's the 5th highest graded against the blitz with 344 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. So
yeah, tell him, Pac Daddy. Tell him.
Probably should have tweeted that out a few weeks ago there, Dove. So, yeah, it is funny that stat was that stat was pulled when this was going on 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden, playing better. Now is the time you're going to post it as if that's still.
Where'd they pick that picture from too? Was that his first year in the league?
Right. Yeah. Like it looks.
That's like Clayton trying to go back and find a picture of me from back in the day, man. He pulled out the old high school photos.
Facebook stalking, man. That's how you gotta do it, bro.
Jordan looks like a teenager in that picture.
He really did. All right, let's keep it moving here. Another tweet that went out, Pac Daddy. He said, as mentioned on the show, that's the one we already hit on. Okay, never mind. That's the one I was supposed to pull up, but we gave Dove a little notoriety there too. Is it Dove or Dove? You guys let me know in the chat. All right. Matt Schneidman tweeted out, Edgerrin Cooper, Romeo Doubs, and Evan Williams are off the injury report and good to go for Sunday in Seattle. Obviously, Corey Ballantyne is questionable. We kind of hit on the injury report already. This one was interesting. Check this out, guys. So, ML Football tweeted out, the Detroit Lions have raised their season ticket prices for their fans by an average of 25%. Some fans have received increases of nearly 60% compared to tickets from last year. Detroit fans are very angry about this. A little winning an immediate price increase. So
it sounds like YouTube TV out there.
Yeah, hey, another situation.
Sorry, Lions got to get their money while they have fans. I mean, what are you gonna do? They all showed up a couple of years ago, and magically they have season ticket holders now. I didn't know that existed in Detroit.
I bet everybody bought their season tickets like this year. You know what I mean? Like they still had a bunch of openings. Anybody that wanted season tickets could get their hands on them.
Yeah, Cam in the chat said, "Let's hear from them fans now." Laughing emoji. It's so true. And here's what's hilarious: we always get talked about. It's the screen. Put it up, Tim. What did Mrs. Green say?
My wife is on fire.
Is that all right? So anyway, let's try to get this back on track. Isn't it funny that we always get knocked on because we don't have an owner, right? And then, listen, our price is raised too. I get it. Everybody across the league does. But this just goes to show you, man, the second they have some success, hey, we don't know how long this is going to last in Detroit. That's what this reeks of. Let's get some money while we can. I love it.
I don't want to pat you on the butt and you poop my hand. So
looks like that's happening, Matt. I don't know.
It does kind of look like Skeletor, don't it? We need a Photoshop that. Drew D in the chat, Mrs. Green, you said what we were all thinking. LOL, so true, man. Look at this, Cam in the chat. She looked like Smeagol, my precious. Let's keep it moving. You guys are toxic.
How dare
Mrs.
you?
Green? Mrs. Green's in timeout. Hit the mute button on her. She took us off the rails.
That's terrible.
All right. Let's see. Did we hit? Yeah, we already hit on this one earlier as we were talking about everything. So look, and then we got a double shot of Skeletor.
Oh, hey, we could get hit with copywriting ourselves, so we better watch ourselves.
Yeah, exactly correct. Good call.
They'll get us.
Get off the screen.
How about that?
DJ Colvin, man, this show sucks. Keep going off the rails. Love it. And, the subs are going down, and DJ Colvin just keeps hitting that like button. So appreciate him.
Milwaukee M12 fan. It's got a bracket and it's magnetic.
They're never going to sponsor us. You keep giving it away.
Bro, ask Clayton. This thing kept us cool when we were up in. I brought it right into the restaurant, slapped it onto the table, cinched it on with this right here, cinched it right on, done.
Emilio rode into town for my brother's funeral, and we all went out with the family afterwards and grabbed a bite to eat and went to this restaurant. It's just always phenomenal. That one day their AC was out, so it was hot. It was bad. Emilio said, I'll be right back. He comes back and puts a Milwaukee Tool fan on the table and blows it down. Work, man. Work.
Always ready. I love it.
Comes in the trip.
All right, let's actually talk some football here, guys. All right, let's try to salvage what little bit of credibility we have.
Hour 2 is just going to plummet, man. They're going to go on there. Just you know what?
I don't even want to be here, bro. All right, just looking at the Seahawks and what they've done this year. So let's look at the last 4 games, okay? Because this is really the last 4 game saturation. What teams did they beat? They're on a 4-game winning streak. They beat the Niners 20-17. All right, we know the Niners have been banged up. We beat the same banged up team, so 20-17, a pretty good win over the Niners, in my opinion, right? And it was at the 49ers, so it was on the road. That's pretty significant. Had the Cardinals at home, beat them 16-6. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but the Cardinals don't have like this great defense, right? Like they don't have an awesome defense, do they?
Not that I remember. We were kind of carving them up. I feel like it's their offense. I think that their offense kind of crapped the bed a little bit.
I was going to say their offense is nothing to write home about either.
Kyler didn't do too well, but yeah, that's a 16-6. They got it done.
Drew D says middle of the road defense. That's kind of how I seen them. I didn't see them as like horrible.
That's fair. They're not terrible, but they're not great.
And the fact that they only scored 16 points on them, that's probably the game that you really want to go back and watch and go, all right, what did the Cardinals do?
Well, even checking to the right there on their points for, Cardinals 284, points against 289. That's pretty close to where Seattle is 302, 283 versus, LA is giving up 338 and San Francisco 320. So that's, I would say middle of the road defense for sure. Yeah,
that's a good point. And then you got they beat the Jets 26-21 on the road there. All right. So I don't know, man, just looking at who they beat the last 4 weeks, you don't see any team that you go, wow, they beat a powerhouse, right? You just don't see it. Cardinals, they beat 30-18 the second time. That's more what you would expect there. Right. So, and who knows, maybe the Cardinals were banged up this time around. I would go back and watch that first Cardinals game. I'd watch all 4 of these games if I was, like from a coach's perspective, go watch the last 4 games. What are they doing here recently? And definitely watch that Cardinals game. Okay, was it just a fluke? Did something crazy happen? Was there weather involved? Who knows? But, anyway, that's kind of their last 4 games. Anything
they haven't really played anybody super legit since week 8, week 6, something like that. Buffalo.
Yeah, no, and looking at it, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 wins at home, and then they have 4 losses at home too. So that could be big for us. And also, I would maybe look, if we're watching film, Clay, I'd probably pull up the Lions game too, just being at a 29-42 game, kind of see where they're at after we just left the Lions. Let's see kind of, what crisscross is there, just because I'm not super happy with how the 49ers have been playing, even since kind of the middle of November there.
All right. So again, just wanted to take a quick look at it. Let's go to their stats. All right. And let's see what they're doing statistically, especially from the receiving aspect. I really wanted to dive into this. And let's see. First of all, let's look at Geno Smith's numbers here, passing wise. So 324 of 466. So his completion percentage is right at 70%, 69.5%. Really impressive there. 3,474 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, though, guys. Like that's his rating's 90.4, but he's going to give you some opportunities to pick him off, isn't he?
Does he get raked over the coals about picks like our quarterback does for no reason?
It's a great question, Tim. I'm not sure. Yeah. This is what I was trying to get to pull up here. I know people in the chat, some people are saying they're having a hard time reading it. We're going to go to the tape here in a second, so hopefully that makes it a little bit better for you guys. Kenneth Walker, obviously, he's their starting back, if you will. 145 attempts as opposed to Zach Charbonnet with 97. Now, Kenneth Walker, the third, averaging 3.7 yards a carry. Zach Charbonnet, 4.1. And Geno Smith scrambling looks like he has scrambled 46 times, has a touchdowns there too. But yeah, as far as rushing yards over expected, he leads the team, believe it or not. So these backs definitely haven't done anything special, although Zach Charbonnet, 45 rushing yards over expected, as opposed to Kenneth Walker III, negative 13. So it does kind of feel like, in my opinion, Zach Charbonnet is the better back this year. So even though Kenneth Walker III is going to be missing the game, most likely being doubtful, Zach Charbonnet is just as good, if not better back, it seems like. So keep that in mind. Now, when we look at the receiving, how does this yardage kind of stack up? Jackson Smith-Njigba, 911 yards receiving with 5 touchdowns. He's our leading receiver. Then it's DK Metcalf with 812 and 3 touchdowns. Then Tyler Lockett with 511 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that's how that's divided up. What I thought we would do is go in here real quick over the last game and just take a quick gander at some of Jackson Smith-Njigba's catches. And let's
He's
see.
that dude, right? He's probably their quote unquote number one, right? If you had to put it on a guy.
Definitely. So let's just go to the Cardinals game. All right. And let's see where they're using him at. If I remember correctly, I think he's number 11, I believe. All right. I'm going to try to get this where it's full screen if you'll give me just a second. Let's see if we can get this where it's a little bit easier for everyone to see. That's a little better, ain't it?
Yep.
There we go. All right. So Jackson Smith-Njigba, again, he usually plays slot. Right here, I think he's playing sidecar left on this play. I could be wrong. Let's see. This is like an 8 or a 9 yard pass to him. I just want to get familiar with how they use him. Yep, that's him coming out of the backfield, ain't it? Number 11, right?
Yep.
So out of the backfield, quick little check down, little shoot spot, and then just 8 or 9 yards. So they will use him in that pony package the same way we use our 11 in Jaden Reed, right? Here's the next play. This is an explosive, if I remember correctly. On this play, I'm thinking he's in the slot right here. So I'm pretty sure that is Jackson Smith-Njigba on this play. Let's see what he does route-wise. So, again, this is a dub set. They've got strong left, but it looks like they're going to motion to Trey Wright. That's their tight end right there. So it is a Trey. They kind of went stack with the Y in the slot there as well. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, corner route. All right, so they like working him out of the corner there. Nice route, right?
Yeah, I thought he'd go up the middle there on the cover too, but he beat him on the corner route.
Yeah, and he did a good job staying patient at the top of the stem and opening that safety
Across
up.
his face.
Yeah. Yep. Froze him back there. Yep.
All right. So this play here, to me, it looks like it's Trey left, and he's the slot receiver right here, I'm pretty sure. Okay. So what we're seeing is they like to go. I mean, 2 of these plays that we've shown now are Trey looks, right? So look for 3-by-1 sets. When we say Trey, it's real simple. 1, 2, 3-by-1 with one of those 3 being a tight end. All right. Typically. So let's see what he does here, working out of the slot. I'm pretty sure that's him at the top. In the middle. Yeah, right here he's across the middle, another little spot play, right? Underneath. So they really like to work him underneath with the spots.
And they were in there
that
too.
stuff has been eating us alive too.
It has.
These past few weeks. So, I mean,
What'd you say, Emilio?
I was saying they were in man there too, so I think that also does help him on that spot look, just because the safety was so deep. He's manning him up, that safety up there kind of wiggling, but you see the backer go with him. Dude, you're so far away at this point. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And they overloaded, obviously, the left side there. In that
right, yeah. You're overloading it, hoping it's a zone or man, and you can still work out of it just because you can't stack everybody on top of each other. Not everybody can bump and run.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was thinking as we were watching that too. 2-0 for this says Cooper being back will make a big difference. He's going to be aggressive on that underneath route, right? So hopefully we get Cooper on the field pretty consistently. I just worry about Cooper that there may be some rust, right? So they might not just throw him right back in. But yeah, I'm in agreement with everybody, man. Harry Cheese having Cooper back this week would be big. Holmes in the chat says our backers need to be much deeper and more aware in space. Again, you take the dig away, they're going to hammer these spots. I would rather them hammer the spots than give them those explosive in the digs. Things can go wrong the more snaps they have to take to go down the field, right?
And I don't think we're going to see a ton of man-to-man looks.
Right. Right. Us running zone, you're going to be able to keep spots in front of you, eyes on the quarterback, which is something maybe if we have time here, we could pull up a couple of his Geno's recent runs, Clay. I'd like to see if it's read option or if it's scramble kind of stuff.
We can do that for sure. There's some pressure, and look at Geno getting that out.
Roll it back. You see the backs and tight end just didn't know what to do. I mean, this poor tight end.
That's horrible.
Well, at least he took inside man. Most threatening, but that back blew it. Kenneth blew it there.
Big time. Lucky he didn't get his quarterback blown up. But look at the yak there with Jackson Smith-Njigba, right?
Yep.
He's no Jaden Reed, but he's pretty darn good. You know what
And
I'm
that was
saying?
zero. That looked like zero. Didn't have a safety over the top. You're one-on-one with the man across from you. Don't get beat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see if that was all. I thought we might have had one more. Yeah, here we go. This is for 12 yards, Jackson Smith and Jigba. And let's see where we got him live. Well, look at this quad left look. Check it out. Tight end, right? Tight end right here. So it looks like he's probably the 2 in this quad left look. All right. Meaning there's 4 targets to the left. Looks like he's the number 2 receiver if I had to guess. He might be on the line there. Was he on the line? There, he was on the line. Yep. Wide open on that dig.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, can you go back pre-snap?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're on defense against that look, we've got to do the opposite of what Arizona did here, which was nothing. They stayed right in where they were, the coverage they were in, and look at, he's butt naked through the trailer park, man. We cannot afford to allow that to happen on Sunday night. We're going to get lit up over the middle.
Yeah, because I roll that back. So I mean, I would almost think that they're running a triangle up top with the corner, the safety, and the slot. Then you're asking your DN to drop. That's your box. You know what I mean? That's the box we're getting. I don't love that, but again, they're stopping the low cross. They're giving up the middle dig.
I would love to not see LVN running up the field with JSN. That would be preferable to me.
Yeah, and this looks like a cover 3 look here too. And that's an issue because you've got 2-on-1 out here with DK. And I don't think that was by design bracket. I think it was just a curl flat and a deep third. And what they're basically doing with this quad look and even that tray look we just seen is they're saying, all right, you want to play zone, we're going to overload you in that zone. That's how you beat zone. So going to be interesting to see how we approach this for sure. But I guarantee you the main focus for Hafley, because of how the last few weeks have gone with that dig route, is let's key in on the dig. We got to get better at that, guys. Oh, it just so happens Seattle loves playing the dig. Now, also keep in mind, remember that first touchdown catch to Jackson Smith and Jig with that corner route. If you're focused on the dig, that safety is going to cheat down. That corner is going to be butt naked. So you got to be careful with that. It's not just like, oh, yeah, that's all we got to do to win, right? There's going to be constant adjusting, and that's what we talk about, the 3 phases of the game. First quarter, gather information. Second quarter and third quarter, control that middle late, and then fourth quarter, standalone game, make your adjustment, and let's go. It'll be interesting, man, for sure. So you want to see? Let me drop this down as I find it. You guys talk for a second on basic.
Yeah, I was hoping to see some of Geno Smith's run because I was looking at the stats there. It looked like he had I think it said 8 over 10 miles an hour, and then I think he even had 1 over 20. So I mean, it's not like he's slow, right? It's not like he's an old, slow, athletic, mobile quarterback. He's got speed. The dude can move.
So let's look at. Yeah, you're right, man. Holy cow, dude.
Like 46 rushes. That's a lot of rushes for a quarterback. And then let's look. All right, so 10 yards or more, he's got 12 of them. 15 miles an hour or more, he's 15 of them. And 1 over 20 miles an hour.
Let's look at that 20 mile an hour real quick. You want to?
Please.
Let's take a quick look and see, because I'm with you. This is
in the fourth. All right, real quick. Fourth quarter, minute 40 left, 1st and 10, down 3. Dude broke 20 miles an hour on this play. This
is going to look wonky because anytime it's one player you pull or one play you pull, it's going to stay shadowed like that. Hopefully we can see it. There's nothing I can do about it. Hopefully, maybe it'll clear, but here we go. Okay, yeah, so he's actually dropped back, and we gone.
Yep.
Oh, look what it was. Look, man coverage. See it?
Yep.
Watch the backs to the ball. Watch the backs to the ball right there.
And then the safety too. See, because safety tried to jump it, tried to get the cross, jump it, dude. And then he was like, "Oh, I got to get back. I messed up."
And you see zero hesitation from him too. Look, he sees that coverage and he's gone. He just takes off.
The only thing worse than hearing Mark Gastineau whine is watching man coverage, man. I can't. I hate it with a passion.
Okay,
all
so he can move. All right.
Got that. Yeah, those scramble, so no design.
46 attempts, or you want 15 mile an hour or whatever. I was just going to go off whatever 46 for his attempts.
Let's go with these 10 plus yard rushes. Obviously, we'll get one in there that we already seen, but let's take a look at it. So again, it's another drop back scramble. They brung the house there. That's that mid rushing lane we're talking about.
Man coverage again, dude. Cover one man. Yeah. Oh,
so it seems like
he not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
That was 34 yards and a touchdown, man. Phenomenal play there. Here's one for 12 yards. All right. Again, they're in the gun set.
What the hell is Detroit had one guy on the line?
Oh, this is end of the second.
Oh, I'm like, what defense is this?
Yeah, and they end up running a quarterback draw. So you think they're just trying to pick up some free yardage here and get out of bounds?
Yep. Yeah, they still have, 11 seconds? So faster. Yeah. I mean, he's probably faster than throwing that out route over there.
Yeah, and that worked too, man. Got you a little bit easier Hail Mary if you don't have time to run another play. So
thank
quarterback
God
draw.
Edgerrin Cooper back for this game.
Yeah, a little spy on him, right?
Yep.
All right, so here's drop back passing again. Yeah, again, look at that man coverage. Everybody's back turned on the backside there. So
he is not. I think that's going to be huge. Like Tim was talking about earlier, that's going to be huge for our front four. One, keeping contained. Two, keeping your lanes. I think that's going to be big.
Yeah.
Yep. And then when we send pressure, we got to be disciplined if we're going to send a fifth or a sixth.
Because that's happening so late in his drop. He's already hitched. He's already turned. He's already on his third or fourth read. I'm gone. Like that's a long time to cover.
Here we are under center. This is for 21 yards. Let's see if there's a play action or anything with it. Yeah, little half play fake. Oh, look at that.
Even with a blitz.
Yeah, bro. And he had it. I mean, you got to put that on the end. I'd like to think our end can make that tackle.
It's almost like scramble is in his, like if he's going through his progressions, you would think read, it's not there, throw it away. With him, it's like read, it's not there, tuck it and run. You know, like he's not even thinking about throwing that ball away or eating it. You know, he's going to take off and run if he.
We run that overload look too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we do, man. This is what you got right here too. Look at the overload, right? Got a double sidecar. Unfortunately, 3rd and 12. I'm having flashbacks from Danny DeVito. So
not feeling good, yeah.
Here we go. You ready? We'll see what happens here. Double sidecar. It is just a 4-man rush overload. He's just going to be patient. Step right up the middle, just like DeVito did, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, touch spy in the middle. You might not see a lot of sacks, but you got to keep his ass in the pocket and make him beat you from within the well. You got to, man.
Because we have to be good on the back end, because if we're giving up a backer, to spy all the time, eventually, Seattle's going to adjust too. So we have to be stout in our pass defense.
Look at this, boys. Somebody come look at this.
I can't believe he broke 20 miles an hour on that play too.
It's crazy.
And that happens. I mean, fourth quarter, you're telling me you wouldn't punch a wall if you saw him run for 35 yards with a minute left in the fourth?
Yeah, you kidding me? It's Fire Joe Barry all over again.
Yeah,
look at this.
Definitely.
Look at that. Did you see that? Watch this. Look at this. Bro, that's Geno Smith playing good ball.
Yeah.
Now, listen, with the 12 interceptions, it's obvious his overall grade being the 8th highest graded quarterback in the league. That running game grade has a lot to do with it, I bet. You know what?
I want to say it was Mike or Wes saying, but they were like, what if he just got that out? He got his second opportunity, and he's just like, I'm not going to go down not swinging. You know what I mean? Like, he was a backup and everything. Now I'm a starter, dude. I'm going to throw everything that I see.
Yeah. Here we are in an empty set, so we're going 2-by-3 from left to right. Ball snap, 4-man rush. Same thing.
Coverage, man.
Yep. There it is.
Man, coverage. They tried to sugar single high, and then they dropped the second safety. It didn't matter.
All right. Damn, this is a lot of runs, boys. Lord have mercy. Here we are, a dub set. No, Trey left. It looks. That's hard to tell. What is it? No, it's dub. Yeah.
Sidecar right. Yeah.
Dub spread here. Sidecar right.
Overload front again, and they brought a 5th blitzer.
Yep. Now look at here's that touch. See that touch right here? That's what we've been doing to stop this type of thing. Let's see where they screw up here. Just couldn't get off the block.
He didn't get off the block, yeah. See, Quay's good at that too, though. We've seen Quay playing a little touch spy this year.
Oh, yeah.
And he's able to do it pretty well too. So it may not just be Cooper that we use.
Fourth quarter, 50 seconds left, 2nd and 13, down 4.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's crazy, dude.
I mean, that he looks like Lamar Jackson.
He picked up 21 yards or 16 yards.
That's nuts, dude. Nuts.
That's something we have to pay attention to. We absolutely have to pay attention to it.
Yeah. Here we are. Trey, looks like Trey left with the Y and the 2. Just right back up the middle.
This won him the game.
DeAndre Campbell right there. Getting cooked. You know.
Who?
You know what I'm seeing here, though, when we think about it?
Yeah.
They like to hammer the dig. You got to be aware of the corner, obviously. Jackson Smith and Jigba on the dig out of the slot. Huge. So if they like to hammer the dig and they like to hit the corner, all right, and he's scrambling a lot, for me, and listen, it's you got to hang your huevos out there, but cover 2 zone. Not Tampa either. Cover 2. Now, you could do Tampa match, but by doing that with a touch spy, 4-man rush, touch spy in the middle, everybody's got eyes on the quarterback. You take the dig away, make sure you get enough depth with the cover 2 look. If they want to spot it out, let them spot it out.
Right.
But the safety has got to be prepared to take that corner, right? Because you can't hesitate like the safety did there in Arizona for sure. So,
right. And that would put him in bunker shots and trying to split the safeties. I like that. Yep. I don't think we need to cover 4, shell them, and just put everybody back there. I don't think that he needs that, but yeah, fluctuate between a little 2, 3, and just make him work everything underneath.
Get an interception for McKinney and one for Williams too, for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's. Do you guys want to see some DK Metcalf real quick? We got a few minutes. You want to do that?
Yeah, might as well pull it up. Let's see what they got here.
We'll just go recently, okay? Is what we'll do. So let me get it set up here. Scroll all the way down. Go all. So let's go to his touches against Arizona. What he did recently. Is that'll work on it?
Yep.
So let's start with this play, 15 yards, and let me get it to where we can go full screen here again. All right, here we go. So this is to DK. There that big guy is right there, a little nasty split. See it? Going to play inside out. Let's see if he works inside out or he crosses the entire formation. I'm going to cross, right? Mesh. See the mesh?
Mm-hmm.
Throw him open. There you go.
Wow.
God, he's a big human being.
And he hurt him.
Yes, that's right, Coach F. All right, here we go again. Looking for the big fella. Where's the big fella? Right here.
Green
Slot
shoes.
right.
Can't miss him.
They're going empty set, tray left with the T flexed up top on the same side as DK is what it looks like. So they will go empty flex. Now they're going to bring him back on orbit, the T, all the way to the other side. So now you got a quad look, a little diamond pattern here, right? And probably setting up a swing potential.
I do like that look. I do like a little swing out into the 3. So
yeah, look at the hat. 1, 2, 3 on 4, right? So you got a +1 in the hat there if you need the swing. But DK just going to put his foot in the ground. Oh, and a screen on the backside.
A little jailbreak. Okay.
Dang. All right.
So that was a great play by the defense there to jump up and make that, because that was going for some. That looked like it was going to break.
Yeah. All right, here we go again. Now he's up top. It looks like he lines up on the right the majority of the time, right? Mm-hmm. Here's a dub nasty look. Tight end. They love the motion at times. Second time we've seen the tight end motion over and picking up the pass block and allowing them to double in the middle, right? So they got a lot of faith in that tight end being able to come across the formation. But here's DK. Right. Look at that little spot play, right? Right there in the middle. Bang. So it looks like they kind of work that as a choice route where they can turn it in almost like a post with a sit, or they can go ahead and complete a dig as well. Here he is again on the right. So you see him down here. Out wide, everybody in nasty splits again. So you're going to be seeing those nasty splits all day long. Oh, we got a go route. Oh, look at that. That's a pretty route, boys. This is the thing.
We always talk about him being big and strong and fast and good hands, but, man, he's a hell of a route runner too. You've got to be disciplined.
Look at the yak too. So you've got to respect his deep threat, right?
Right.
Underneath, cut it back in.
And they went 4 wide on a 3rd and 2, up 9. You know what I mean? That's something we got to be ready for.
Absolutely, man.
We should be, because, Detroit didn't have a problem doing that to us.
I'll say, man. All right, let's see. Is that it? That's all the plays from the Cardinals game. So, again, just to take a quick look, I think it's important. So, I'm glad we did that for sure. Anything else you guys want to hit on as we're off to Seattle? All right. We kind of hit on PFF a little bit earlier. Why don't we do this? Why don't we jump into – we got a couple of minutes here. Probably should save it for the morning show tomorrow, but we're not going to. We get greedy here, right? Let's look at the team rankings real quick and see where they rank across the league. Let's start with scoring offense, points per play, and let's see where Seattle's sitting.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Seattle's in the 13 spot with 0.373 points per play, so they're right behind San Francisco. Obviously, we played San Francisco earlier this year. Green Bay is still in the number 6 spot at 0.448 in points per play. All right, now let's go total offense yards per play. Yards per play, Seattle is 13th in the league at 5.5. The Packers are second with 6.3. All right, so got the matchup there. Rushing offense, yards per rush attempt. Seattle is way down there, ain't they? 24th at only, actually tied for 20th at 4.1 yards per carry. Green Bay is tied for 6th at 4.8. So obviously their rushing game struggling a bit. Passing game, though, yards per pass attempt, where do they come in there? 14th at 7.5. So like nothing crazy, right?
I think it's because he throws the ball so much, right?
Right.
That it kind of dilutes his numbers.
I could see that. That makes a lot of sense for sure.
And the rushing's probably down because he's most of their rushing as well.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go to giveaways. How often do they give the ball away per game? All right.
Should we ask this guy? I wonder if he knows.
I bet he does. Seattle is actually 23rd in the league. They're giving the ball away 1.5 times per game. So that's 23rd worst in the league. And the Packers, where are the Packers at? 16th at 1.2. All right. So they're going to give you probably a couple of opportunities in this game to take the ball away.
Let's go.
They'll probably give you 3 or 4 opportunities. Can you capitalize this question? So that's interesting. All right. Now let's go to rapid fire scoring defense. What does their defense look like? Opponent points per play. Seattle is 11th. So Mike McDonald working his magic out there. 11th at 0.346. So they're a borderline top 10 defense. I mean, we're in the 10 spot at 0.343 points per play allowed. So the defense is very, very similar from a scoring standpoint. Total defense, opponent yards per play allowed. Seattle is in the 13, actually tied for the 12 spot at 5.4, and we are in the 11 spot at 5.3. So very, very close there. Defense is very, very similar. Rushing defense. Let's go opponent yards per rush attempt. Seattle against the run is 25th at 4.7. Tim, what do you think we should do this game, bub?
Give Josh the freaking ball.
I want my sack
More
back.
than 25 carries. That's the magic number, man.
Run the dang ball, Bert. Run it.
Run it, man. 25 or more carries. Let's go.
Man. So, I mean, seriously, that's the weak spot of their defense is definitely running. Let's see what their passing defense looks like. It could be worse. You never know. Yards per pass attempt by their opponents. Seattle against the pass, 7th best in the league at 6.3. So you cannot, if you go out there and try to get pass happy, man, you're gonna find yourself in a bad situation.
Right.
And need to key in on the run big time, man. Take what they give us for sure. Now, if they load the box like Detroit did, all bets are off, right?
Yep, let's go.
Yeah. So there you go with that passing defense. I think that's pretty much it. Let's go to takeaways now. How good is their defense at taking the ball away? Seattle is tied for 11th with 1.2 takeaways per game. Green Bay is now tied for 3rd at 1.8. So they can take the ball away as well. So, anything catch you guys off guard there? Anything stick out to you?
I don't think so. No, I like that, we're going to have the opportunity. I think the defense needs to get back on that grind. And we had a couple games there where we weren't flipping it. And I think that definitely it'll help the offense, giving up another possession, but also just kind of gets that flame going under the defense. Like, hey, we're something to be messed with too.
I think this really just shows us how tight of a matchup this is. Like we talked about, Clay, right? These are two pretty evenly matched teams. I mean, we see some of their weaknesses, compared with some of ours. Everything kind of seems to kind of balance it out, balance itself out, kind of a wash. So it's going to come down to execution, and it's going to come down to, like you said, man, who's willing to make the necessary adjustments and, win that middle 8 and, grind out a game. But I think we're going to be in for a shootout. If I had to guess, right? I think another relatively high scoring game.
Yeah, it just depends on if we can get the run game going. You get 2 or 3 long sustained drives with the running game. I could see that keeping the points down a little bit. But
Daryl said, break out the old Lombardi suite. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go, man. I'm all about it. And here's the thing with the penalties. They are the fourth most penalized team in the league right now at 7.5 penalties per game. Green Bay is tied for 23rd at 6.8. So
that's almost a full. We're almost having another one more penalty per game from last year.
Yeah.
Like that's tough. That's something Matt needs to hammer down on for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so there you go, man. There is your team rankings preview. What we learned. They've got a solid a solid pass defense, not so much against the run, and their running game is kind of subpar. Their passing game, pretty efficient. Although Geno Smith, I think it was 11 or 12 interceptions this year, he's going to give you an opportunity to pick the ball off. That's going to happen several times in that game come Sunday. The other thing I wanted to hit on, we did pull the weather report, the latest weather report. Keep in mind this could change, but the latest weather report. Obviously, it's going to be a night game. So during the day, 48 degrees, a mix of clouds and sun in the morning, followed by cloudy skies during the afternoon. High of 48, wind just 5 to 10 mile an hour, non-factor there, right? And then Sunday night, cloudy skies with periods of rain after midnight, all right? So it sounds like there's not going to be any rain until after midnight. So
I wouldn't bet on that, though. It's Seattle.
It is Seattle. You're right. And you see the humidity there, 75% during the day. You never know, something pops up, right?
Yep.
But my guess is, though, we're probably not going to see any rain based off this forecast. But, again, it's Friday, right? So, not only are we worried about rain at the stadium there, but I guarantee you AFAM's making it rain somewhere on a Friday night right now, if you know what I mean.
AFAM's at the Oval Office right now.
That's exactly where AFAM's at. He don't even live in Green Bay, but they Skyped him in, I guarantee you. So, yeah, I mean, we got a couple of days that could change. We'll keep our eye on it and see if that weather report changes. But as it sits right now, it looks like it's going to be pretty clear. Clear weather. So
looking at their offense running three, going 5 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide. Are we calling? I know someone was asking about it in the chat earlier. Are we calling more dime this game? And who's going to be our fourth?
I'm just going to say, who the hell is going to be the fourth?
Right. That's what I'm wondering. Man. Is that we just took the dime package out of the playbook for now until we figure it out, or what?
I mean, that's the thing. They run 11 personnel 76% of the time. So I think we're going to be in our nickel. If Ja was healthy, they might press into dime a little bit. My guess is they're going to stick with nickel.
But then we're asking Cooper to run with them, right? Though, like, are you asking McDuffie to play or Wilson? Who are we going to be asking to run that tight end up?
Oh, with the tight end, I think it's going to be mix and match. I mean, you're basically going to have Quay. I hope it's Quay and Edgerrin Cooper on the field. We know there's going to be a good mix, though. Cooper's not going to play the large majority of the snaps. I wouldn't be surprised if he. I would be surprised if he cracks 25 snaps. I hope he does. But I kind of feel like they're probably going to hold him back a touch and not overdo it.
Right.
If that's the case, then when it comes to pass defense, you want Eric Wilson out there over Isaiah McDuffie. So maybe this is that game that you see Eric Wilson play a few extra snaps more than McDuffie. That makes sense. I'm just kind of
no, definitely
out loud.
Yeah. I was just trying to think, like, even if we wanted to go dime, who would it be? So we've got Keyshawn and Stokes in there. Valentine's probably not going to play. Ja's out. So we have Valentine. That would be our third, but we would need a fourth if we were even to go dime. Evan we'd have at safety. You'd have X at safety. It would be
Kalen
King or Zane. I feel like that's
see, that was my other question. That's a great point. We talked about, could we move a safety into the slot,
right,
in order to free up Keyshawn to play on the boundary since we don't have Jaire? Do we think Zane Anderson's that dude? Can we run him up into the slot on some of these looks, and then
Yeah, and we kind of talked about it earlier. Obviously you got Oladapo too, so King or Oladapo makes a lot of sense. But we talked earlier, like, if you were to say, you know what, let's play a safety in the slot for a good chunk of this, not every snap, but a good chunk. Is it going to be McKinney? He's more qualified, no doubt. But the problem is you'd like to have McKinney playing post safety and manipulating the backs down that coverage.
Yeah, right.
So do you trust Evan Williams to play slot? Whoever is going to play slot, you're going to call man coverage. Let's hope it's very, very minimal. But there are going to be man coverage calls. It's not going to be 100% zone in this game. We know that, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, who do you trust more in space with Jackson Smith and Jigba? The only person I trust is McKinney. See, yeah, I mean, for me, it's McKinney. I'm talking about safety, strictly safety. If you were to
Yeah.
So yeah, this might be this feels like the game, in my opinion, though. Keyshawn does kick back to the slot, like Tim was kind of saying, and you run with Carrington Valentine and Stokes on the outside. I think that's going to happen.
Lord help us.
I just don't think they trust anyone else to play slot other than McKinney, and he's too valuable playing post and being able to slide down in the box, show spur, and then drop deep.
And are you going to ask Evan? And you probably wouldn't ask Evan to come down and play spur, just coming off a concussion and everything too. I mean, not that the dude's not cleared, but we're not going to have him stick his nose in there every play just because.
And he's going to. You know how he.
Right. Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, it's just like if we can scheme him away from a majority of the contacts and play coverage, cool. But he's not going to happen. He's going to want to get to the ball. I think that's where you're right on. Oladapo might be the one that's going to lay the lumber, but I would definitely, as Tim was saying, I'd rather have Keyshawn inside, everybody tight, force Geno to, because we saw how many crossers and mesh concepts they ran. I'd be fine with him trying to force those out routes and those corners and things, and kind of let Valentine and Stokes hold that up.
Yeah. All right. We covered it pretty extensively. We hit everything we wanted to hit tonight. So we will hop in here tomorrow morning for Good Morning Lambeau at 8:30 Central Time and dive a little deeper. What we'll probably do is the NFL Pro Insights tomorrow morning. Kind of take a look at that and see if there's some next-gen stats that we may or may not have overlooked, and see what's going on there. So appreciate you guys jumping on. This was fun, man.
Absolutely. Sure. I will be awake this time, but I won't be on. I'll be at the parade.
Unbelievable how that works. I might drive down to Maryville tonight and
you might have to.
I might cut the alternator loose or something. So you can't get out there anymore.
I'll see if maybe I'll just hop in on the pod and just be driving one handed, throw the phone up on the front of the truck and give you a little teaser.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well,
in a dumpster.
There you go. That's it. Here we go. DJ says,
boy.
Make sure you charge your Milwaukee tools tonight, everyone. That's right. Well, there's nothing
right here behind me, but I
heard it from a fan right here.
There's nothing worse than getting on that job site the next day and going, crap, I didn't charge a damn thing. That's the worst.
Charging.
The worst. And then you leave your charger at home. Yeah, that's even worse. Dead batteries with no charger. Oh boy.
Take them out of the car too. If you live up north, take them out of the car. Keep them warm. There's nothing wrong with bringing them in and letting them sleep in the warmth. Okay, it doesn't hurt them.
Hey, if you're cold, they're cold. Bring them inside.
Yeah, that's the truth.
That's what AFAM said about the Oval Office. If you're cold, they're cold. Bring them inside. You know? So Holmes in the chat said, "Well, this show sucked." Thanks, guys. I appreciate you, Holmes. It does suck. We're out of here. See y'all tomorrow. Goodbye.
And we gone.
We're out. Bye, guys.